Hi, this is Olga from Wholesale USA Dresses.com. Although many people associate flea market selling with part-time sellers, there are actually people that sell full-time at the flea market. Full-time flea market vendors have developed strategies for maximizing the potential of making money in their flea market business. They start out by approaching it as their main focus. They might make this decision out of need or because they sense a great deal of potential. Perhaps someone lost his job and he is looking for a quick way to bring in some money. He might decide to purchase merchandise from a wholesale flea market supplier, rent a booth, and then exclusively focus on making it work until he is able to find another job. Or a vendor might realize that there is a great deal of sales potential without the same high level of expenses that are associated with the store. For instance, I meet a few flea market vendors that had stores in the past. Once they realized that could interact with more customers and could eliminate a majority of their expenses, they closed their stores and focused exclusively on their flea market business. If you think about it, a well-known flea market can attract hundreds, if not thousands, of shoppers over a weekend. A store would have to be located in very busy commercial strip to be seen by thousands of customers. For instance, a clothing store located around 34th and Broadway in Manhattan can easily pay over 15,000 a month in rent. That rent does not include electricity, water, and other related expenses. And even with all those expenses, there are no assurances that people walking by the store will actually walk inside. On the other hand, a flea market spot in a very busy flea market might cost the vendor up to 20 a day. The vendor does not have to pay for electricity, water, or for other expenses that arise when operating a store. His expenses will usually only consist of the rent for the spot, gas for his van, and a salary for an employee if he hires one. And since the flea market booth is right in the islet where the shoppers walk, he does not have to figure out how to get them to come into his store. He simply needs to catch their attention to possibly make a sale. I used to love joking around with the people that would walk by, and they in turn would love to come over to talk to me. Once they were at my booth, I had a chance to sell them the socks and t-shirts that I carried. Now, to be fair, there are challenges associated with selling at flea market. Adverse weather can keep customers away. Rain or cold weather can keep shoppers away, and even a day that starts out sunny can end up feeling like a tropical storm just passed through. The business is seasonal, so unless you are willing to travel to a city where there are year-round markets, or unless you live in one of those cities, you can miss out on 3 months of sales every year. It's also harder to build a customer base since people can forget about you during the months when the market is closed. People might not remember which spot your booth is even when the flea market is open for the season. I met New York flea market vendors that would travel to Florida during the winter months. By traveling to cities such as Toyota or Tampa, they could continue their flea market sailing even when it was snowing back in New York. The weather can still be a challenge regardless of where you are, since you have a rainy or unusually cold day at any point of the year. I would recommend traveling with a tarp and some extra warm clothing. This way you can still continue your sales even if you experience inclement weather. You might be surprised, but I remember when I sold at a flea market that even during rainy days shoppers would still show up. For many people, the flea market is their main shopping outlet, so some people will even come rain or shine. As far as building a customer base and enabling shoppers to remember where you are located, I would recommend rating your spot by the month. Shoppers are more likely to remember you if you are in the same spot week after week. I would recommend giving shoppers a flyer or business card with your contact information. This way, they will have something to remind them of your business. When it comes to actually developing a full time flea market business, you need to address the following three subjects. First, you need to have access to below wholesale closeout merchandise. You can find wholesalers online, visit closeout warehouses, and even import merchandise yourself. Second, you need to have a list of flea markets at which you can sell it. These flea markets should be able to realistically provide you with all the customers that you will need to earn a full-time income. Third, you need to build a customer following. The best way to develop a following is by being a consistent seller that focuses on at least one specific product category. A mistake that I believe many of us have made at least once is that we jump too fast from one type of product to another type of product. It happens because we don't immediately see the results that we want. So we assume that the merchandise is not the right fit and then look for another type of merchandise to sell. In my opinion, it makes more sense to be patient, since often it's just a matter of customers becoming aware that you carry certain products. They might not buy those products from you right away, but they might later on when they need those products. I know it can be challenging to decide what type of products to sell. I would recommend first visiting the flea market you are planning on setting up at. You would want to see which vendors are doing really well and which products are lacking. One approach is to sell products that are already selling really well, but keep in mind that you might end up competing with vendors that will lower their prices to drive you out. Another approach is to sell products that are not available. This way, you will not have any competition and can set a decent profit margin for yourself. Just keep in mind that it's possible that the reason no one else is selling those products is because there is no one demand for them. One important point I would like to share with you is that you don't need to have the lowest prices to do well. If the quality of your merchandise is better than what is able from other vendors, then customers might be willing to pay a higher price for your merchandise. And even if you and other vendors have the same prices, but you develop a good rapport with your customers, you should be able to sell your merchandise. When I sold at the flea market, I made sure to treat my customers like they were my friends. And as I got to know my customers, I actually genuinely enjoyed talking to them. I met some of the nicest people in course of selling at the flea market. Please visit our wholesale warehouse in New York.